Shohei Ohtani's return to Anaheim Stadium was triumphant. The Angels made sure that it wasn't because of him, and Mookie Betts said, "Thank you very much." Let's talk about it live on Locked On Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Dodger fans, this is Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks to our everydayers for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. And thanks to those of you who are here with us live on Tuesday evening, talking Dodgers. Remember, this show is free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. So please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening right now. If this is your first time with us, my name is Jeff Snyder. That guy next to me is my co-host, Vince Samperio. Vince and I are both lifelong Dodger fans, just like most of you. We've also both spent time covering the Dodgers in the press box and the locker room, so we bring you the smart fans' perspective on our boys in blue every weekday morning. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. And what time is it, Vince? It's Locked On Dodgers time. And Shohei Ohtani played what Eric Karros and Steven Nelson referred to as his first meaningful September game at Angel Stadium in his career. And they're not wrong. It was more meaningful to one team than the other, but it was his first game that counts back at Angel Stadium as a visitor. Obviously, they played the Freeway Series in spring training. We'll talk a little bit, we're probably our first two segments are going to be a lot about Ohtani. We'll talk in the second segment about kind of the reception he got, the Angels' plan to not do anything special for his return. They kind of hedged on that. But first, we want to talk about the game because the game was a tight battle. It went to extra innings. It was 2-2 through 9 innings. Walker Buehler, we'll talk more about him in the third segment. He pitched pretty well, 2 runs in 5 innings, just 2 solo home runs. But Reed Detmers kind of shut the Dodgers down for his 6 innings. And then the good relievers on the Angels did a good job. But then we got to the 10th inning, and the Angels were out of good relievers, so they went with Roansy Contreras. And so Tommy Edman started the inning on second base. Max Muncy grounded out to the right side to move Edman to third base. Miguel Rojas, I believe it was the first pitch, right? I think first pitch of his at bat, line drive single to score Edman, and then Gavin Lux pinch hitting for Chris Taylor, hit a ground out to the right side that they got the out at first, moved Kevin Kiermaier, pinch running for Rojas to second base, and that left first base open with Shohei Ohtani coming up. And obviously the Dodgers had already scored. And in hindsight, the Dodgers had already scored the winning run because the Angels didn't score in the bottom of the 10th inning. The game could have ended there. Who knows if it's a one-run game? We don't know if Logan O'Hoppe would have tried to run on the fly out in the bottom of the 10th inning. Mookie's throw is really good. Maybe he throws him out. Everything is different if it's a one-run game. But so it felt we wanted more than the one run. And so when the Angels chose to walk Shohei Ohtani with first base open, Eric Karros said it's undoubtedly the right move, absolutely the right move. Mookie Betts said, "Hey, Roansy, can you throw me a hanging slider on the first pitch?" And Roansy Contreras said, "Sure, Mookie." And Mookie hit over the wall in left field for a 3-run homer. Mookie is always smiling. Vince, you spend a lot of time around Mookie Betts. You help with this podcast. You see Mookie in a lot of different contexts, and he's smiling, 98% of his life? He's just a happy dude. When he looked so disrespected, like obviously it was a happy moment, but you don't see it from Mookie very much, but it was like an NBA player. When you posterize somebody, you dunk on somebody, and then you get your mad face, that was Mookie all the way around the bases in the dugout, just like, bring it on, bro. I loved it.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. Because like I said, Mookie's happy. You see the smile, but you don't always see like that type of reaction from him. And it was, definitely something you noticed as he was running the bases, and then definitely after he crossed home plate and, pounding his chest. And it looked like saying something like, "You want to walk someone to get to me," something to that extent, or, I don't know in what words exactly, but something like that. And yeah, for everyone that says, the Dodgers don't play with emotion and everything else and blah, blah, blah. And the emotion comes after big moments like this, and the Dodgers do a good job when the moment presents itself, and that was this moment here. And for Mookie Betts, they mentioned on the broadcast, he's only been intentionally walked in front of twice in his career, and those both times were in 2016, I believe, with Big Papi ahead of him. So he doesn't. He said it after the game, like, I don't get to feel this too often. He said he kind of blacked out a little bit in the moment in terms of the reaction, and yeah, for everything, whatever, right move, wrong move, it was the right move for the Dodgers in the moment. And I was watching the game with my dad and my grandpa, and it's like, man, you walk Shohei Ohtani, and yeah, you're getting, a force out, or, a right on right matchup, or whatever the case, or whatever Ron Washington's looking for, maybe even a little bit of feelings involved in sense of, okay, we're not going to let Otani beat us even more, even though they were already losing. But yeah, it to do it in Anaheim, first game back, even though it wasn't Otani with the big moment, Otani was a reason we got the big moment, because, if they didn't walk him, who knows what would happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to talk a little bit about this right decision, wrong decision. I had wondered going into the inning, it made sense that the obvious move was for Gavin Lux to pinch hit for Chris Taylor. And I wondered if the Dodgers would do that, knowing that Roansy Contreras actually has reverse splits. He is quite a bit better against left-handed batters than he is against right-handed batters. And the Dodgers ended up going with Lux anyway, because I think in that situation, you don't worry about the pitcher strengths as much. You go with, well, Lux is a better hitter than Taylor, and Lux hits righties well, so you don't worry too much about what the pitcher does. But from Ron Washington's standpoint, I would think that would at least be a consideration. This guy allows a .330 slugging percentage to lefties and a .439 slugging percentage to righties this year. That's a very meaningful difference. And I think a lot of it was just that they didn't want Shohei to be the one to get the big hit against them. But if I'm looking at, and I was thinking this before, I was hoping Mookie would make them pay. But even before he hit the home run, this isn't just results-based analysis. You look at Contreras' reverse splits, and even more than that, like, my thought was, we saw it against Quijada in the whatever inning, 8th inning or whatever, that Shohei in big moments is more likely to expand the zone, to chase a little bit than Mookie is. And obviously Shohei's not an easy out by any means. And so there's a few things in favor of just go after Shohei. But then the other side of things for me is Contreras doesn't have strikeout stuff. And I don't know if a guy with his stuff is going to get the chase from Shohei, the swing and miss from Shohei that a guy like Jose Quijada can. And so, I mean, for me, I guess there's no right answer. I do think Karros was wrong to say it's absolutely the right decision, because you're in a no-win situation. You've already given up a run, and you have 3 MVPs coming up. Which one do you want to pitch to?
I think that's the biggest part of it too, is they were already down a run. So now you're opening yourself, like, you're putting a potential extra run on base with Mookie Betts. Like, if Shohei Ohtani doubles, 1 run scores, and then you have 2 chances to get that one out that you're looking for. And in this case, you didn't have that. And then it just, adds, we're all about efficiency here on Locked On Dodgers. Like, we're trying to see a good game, but a quick game more than likely. And when Ron Washington, you're already down 6-2 or whatever, and then you come out and bring out a lefty to face, like, the game's over. Just leave Contreras in there. He hadn't thrown that many pitches. But regardless, whatever, it led, to a great moment. And, cool to see that emotion from Mookie. And, the team is starting to click right now. I think everything's kind of working out, and we're seeing it with results, even though the Dodgers struck out 16 times, 10 times against Reed Detmers. Like, overall, this episode could have been like, oh man, the Dodgers just, didn't look good at the plate today. But in this time the pitching held it down and kept it at bay, and then the offense was able to come through in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. We did have one question from an insider, Scott in Texas, saying it seems to him like Mookie Betts with runners in scoring position is a little bit more aggressive, hunting a first pitch, good pitch to hit. And, wondering if that's actually accurate, if it's just a seems like thing. And I'd have to make a spreadsheet to know for sure. And I'm not opposed to making spreadsheets, but this text came in 10 minutes before we started recording. And so I don't know for sure, but I did look and saw this is the 10th time this year that Mookie with runners in scoring position got a hit on the first pitch of the at bat. And 7 of those hits have been for extra bases, 2 homers and 5 doubles. So I do think, there's definitely whether overall he's being more aggressive in those situations, I don't know. But we have seen an inordinate number of first pitch hits from Mookie with runners in scoring position, and I think that's probably not by accident.
Yeah, and he's 10 for 24 runners in scoring position since coming back from injury, so he's getting hits regardless. But yeah, definitely being more aggressive, it seems like.
And with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, he's batting .324 for his career and .406 this year coming into this game. So those numbers both went up. A lot of reasons you don't want to face Mookie in that situation, but the Angels did, and it helped the Dodgers. We're going to come back in a minute. We're going to talk about Shohei's return to Anaheim and all that went with that. So thanks again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen, and please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Hey, I am back. We are back. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Thanks for being with us live. Remember, if you're not an everydayer, it's easy to become one. Just watch or listen every weekday morning. You make that easier on yourself by subscribing wherever you're watching or listening right now. You can go beyond the podcast and become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. You can text directly with us, have one-on-one conversations, get our thoughts on things before the podcast. It's a lot of fun. Just a few bucks a month and a free 14-day trial. Also, be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles on YouTube. Locked On Sports LA is where you can find the Locked On Dodgers postcast, hosted by Pete Fox after almost every Dodger game. And remember to catch every pitch of every Dodger game on SiriusXM or the SXM app by searching for Dodgers. And for your second listen today, check out Locked On MLB, hosted by Paul Francis Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully. So this was, in some ways, Shohei Ohtani's first game back at Anaheim. They did play there for the Freeway Series, but these games count. And Freeway Series was weird because the Dodgers had already played 2 regular season games at that point and then played more spring training. I guess we'll probably get that again next year with them opening the season in Japan. But this was the first games that count back in Anaheim, and it was reported in The Athletic, I think earlier today, that the Angels had no plans to do anything to honor or recognize Ohtani, but they did say that could change. And Sam Blum, who wrote the article, seemed like he wrote the article in the hopes that it would help change things, get a little bit of public opinion working in favor of that. In the end, they did. I mean, they put a thing up on the billboard. It wasn't a huge thing, but it was something. And I don't need the Angels to worship Ohtani, and yeah, I mean, the fact is he did choose to leave. You can make a case that the Angels owner made that choice a lot easier for him. But he chose to sign somewhere else. But he did win 2 MVPs for them and is one of the best players in their franchise history. How did you feel, Vince, about that they had to be talked into doing anything? And how did you feel about the reception he got before his first at bat?
It was all just weird. The Angels, Artie Moreno, I don't have any positive things to say about him. Like, really, and it's been so bad that like I used to actively just the only team I would really talk smack against is Angel fans, just because they were annoying. And now I feel bad for them. And the fact that you've made me go from the one team I talk smack about to feeling bad for you is just shows how bad you are as an owner. But there's weird things that the Angels, like if you're an Angels fan or Angels PR person or whatever, you can kind of point to like, well, we already gave Otani his video tribute when he came back in the spring, like in the exhibition game, blah, 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 whatever. The other part is like less than half the stadium's actually a tribute and the rest is actively rooting for the player that's on their favorite team. Like, It's only the fourth sellout of Angel Stadium this year. I got to imagine opening day was probably one of the other ones. And, who knows what the other two were, maybe Yankees or something like that. But like the fans were there. They were Dodger fans. It was mostly Dodger fans. You got to imagine. So, who are you really doing the tribute for? There's not too many fans there. And yeah, was it the best return ever? No, but I do think there was just a lot of weirdness surrounding everything. And the fact that, it comes all down from the top. Like the Angels have had a lot of issues in PR and, beyond just on the field not being good in the last couple of years. And it all starts at the top. And I think that's just this moment is just another, microcosm of that there's just not a lot of good leadership there.
Yeah. And the fact is the fan bases are different. Even when Otani was there, like I have a Shohei Ohtani Angels bobblehead back there because one of my neighbors went to an Angel game. It happened to be Otani bobblehead night and he got one. And their whole family got him. So they brought me home one. And it's like, you look at how excited Dodger fans are for Otani bobblehead night. The Angels did 6 Otani bobbleheads that year, only gave away 20,000, and still some random dude from Utah just happened to show up and got one. Like the difference, the passion is different. I was there in Anaheim Stadium in 1998 when A-Rod got to 40-40. He hit his 40th home run. Me and my sister and the people in the Mariners dugout were the only people who had any clue that history had just happened. He was the second one ever to do it. Nobody knew. It was just, it's a different mindset. It's a social event, and I don't mean that as a slam on the Angels or their fans. It's just a different experience. And we kind of saw that at Dodger Stadium too with Justin Turner's return, because Turner's first game happened to be on Hello Kitty night. And so you had a lot of people who were there for Hello Kitty more than for the Dodgers. And so you could make a case that Turner didn't get the ovation he deserved because there was a more casual fan base there that night. And I think the difference is that the Angels fan base just in general is more casual. And part of that is because they haven't had a good team in a decade. Part of that is because their owner doesn't care about having a good team. All those things add up to the fact that it's just a more casual fan base. And it's not going to, man, this thing, I just heard this getting clipped and put on Twitter tomorrow. And now, like, that dude who got mad at me for the ad we did saying now that Shohei Ohtani is playing in real LA, that guy's going to come after me. But you know what? If you don't want to be called casuals, don't be casuals, I guess,
Yeah. It's just, a lot different. And if the Dodgers were bad for, almost 10 years, not out of the playoffs for almost 10 years, it would be a slightly different feeling at Dodger Stadium, but not that. Like, even in the McCourt years, maybe it wasn't as full as it was now, but the fans that were there were the fans that wanted to watch baseball. Like, you could, like me, that was when I was in a young adult, so I could finally start to go on to games on my own. So like, I'm going and I'm supporting, and maybe we don't have the best team, but regardless, we had good players, and you cheer them on. And now Matt Kemp, one of those good players on some of those not so great teams, I'm there for him getting his number, not his number inducted, get signed in his last day and retiring as a Dodger, like a lot of different things. So yeah, again, I don't really care on the Angels side of things, but as a greater thing, like the Angels are just a poorly run organization at this time. And what they got is, I did like the used to work here as the fun fact for Otani, and the Otani rule being added to those little things were funny, but that's probably one person or one or two people department that's kind of leaning into what is going on. But still, from the top, it's just bad. So.
Yeah, hiring one funny person is the only thing that Artie Moreno has to his credit, I guess. And I have nothing against the Angels. I actually have fond feelings for the Angels. Growing up in Lake Elsinore, it's a lot easier to get to Anaheim than it is to get to LA, traffic wise. And so I went to a lot of Angel games growing up, and I did go to a Freeway Series game every year with my aunt and uncle who live in Irvine. I think they were in Tustin back then anyway, close to Angel Stadium. But I went to a lot of games, and back then the Lake Elsinore Storm were the farm club of the Angels. And so I knew Darren Erstad when he was playing in the minor leagues. I went to the movies with Benji Molina one time. Like I like the Angels just fine. Like if I had to choose a favorite American League team, it's probably the Angels. I don't dislike them. So it is sad, like you were saying, that they're just so poorly run, and they've had some bad luck for sure. Mike Trout's injuries, Anthony Rendon's, leprosy or whatever it is that causes him to get hurt every 3 weeks. But also they've brought a lot of that bad luck on themselves by having the worst owner in baseball, worst owner in professional sports. Yeah. We're going to come back in a minute. Walker Buehler pitched this game. He was okay, and we're going to talk about whether he was better than okay or not. So thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning, and please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. So get in on the excitement and win up to 100 times your money with your favorite sports on PrizePicks. With PrizePicks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 while watching sports. You can make a PrizePicks lineup of players across all different sports in as little as 60 seconds. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5, even if you don't win. And get 4 weeks of free W's because 1 passing yard from Caleb Williams gets you 1 win on PrizePicks every week in September. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time. I love sports. I love concerts. I love comedy shows. The thing they all have in common is buying tickets. And that means the other thing they have in common is you can find the best price on Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One example that I did recently, on Wednesday when I was at the Dodger game for Shohei Ohtani bobblehead night, I got there 2 hours before the parking lots open. So I was sitting in the line of cars waiting for the parking lot to open. And guess what? I hadn't even bought my parking yet. I did that from my car while I was sitting there on Game Time because I knew the price would go down. So I just watched Game Time while I was sitting there. And once the parking pass got to a reasonable price, I said, boom, buy it. 1 click, it was bought. So take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets and game tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Hey, we're back. Thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Thanks for being in every day. Or if you are, if you're not, it's easy to become one. Just watch or listen every weekday morning. Thanks for being here live with us. If you are, we are live most evenings, Sunday through Thursday evenings for our Monday through Friday episodes. Not every day, but almost every day lately. I think it's been, all but 2 days the last few months. So we enjoy being live here with you. Thanks for all you keeping the chat alive tonight. And remember to check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles. Remember to become a Locked On Dodgers insider at joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. Remember to catch every Dodger game on SiriusXM or the SXM app. So Walker Buehler, Vince, he went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs, 2 solo home runs. The home run to Ohtani was a legit blast. The home run to Taylor Ward was, obviously it went over the wall, so it counts, but it wasn't a terrible pitch by Buehler. It wasn't a great hit by Ward. It just, he happened to poke it over the wall in right field. All in all, it's hard to quibble too much with Buehler's performance. For me, I just wonder how much of a curve we have to grade on because it was the Angels who are bad at hitting baseballs.
Yeah, there's, as with anything, 2 sides to things. But with Buehler, it's not that long ago where we were calling for him to maybe get DFA'd or at least move to a bullpen role. And, even with him saying, I feel better, you can feel better and the results just aren't there. And that's what it had been. Now, these last 2 starts, you feel a little bit different, depending who you are. You might feel like, okay, Walker Buehler might have a chance to be a guy that can do something, or at least if the Dodgers don't get Glasnow and or Yamamoto back, it could be a lot worse than this version of Walker Buehler that we're getting. But again, like you said, it's the Angels. And as we've said a lot of times before, you can only pitch against who you're playing against. But when it comes down to, and Buehler's been bad against bad teams too, but now the games are going to, the games in the regular season aren't mattering as much. But getting ready for October is important right now. And I think that's where we're at. And, for Buehler, to do it against the Angels, not so much. The strikeouts, the swing and miss, that's all good. But again, and the Dodgers do have some games coming up against teams that are in the playoffs or fighting for playoff spots. Buehler should face at least one of those teams, whether it's Guardians or Braves or, even the Cubs, who are kind of scratching by, whoever it is, however it lines up. So it's encouraging to see, and I think it obviously feels a lot better than it did a few weeks ago, but I'm still not sold yet.
Yeah, and there's no question that this was a better performance than he's had a lot of times this year. I mean, he gave up 7 runs in 4 innings against the Rockies. Yes, it's in Colorado. It's still the Rockies. The Rockies play half their games in Colorado and still suck. So, they're beatable in Colorado. He was lousy against them. He gave up 4 runs in 3 innings against the Pirates. A whole long list of games this season where he was not great. And, I still have no idea what happened that game against the Reds when he pitched 6 scoreless innings. Like, I don't know where that pitcher is, but if you
actually,
look,
you want to know real quick?
Yeah.
The 2 times I've hit less on Prize Picks against Walker Buehler was the 2 times was this game and the Reds game. So maybe I just have to keep betting, losing money, but Walker Buehler pitches better.
Hey, that's a sacrifice I'm willing for you to make. Maybe bet more if that'll help even more. It was definitely better. And we've talked about this with other guys. It's not just the results. You can see his curveball was pretty effective tonight, and maybe a better hitting team doesn't chase it because it was a chase pitch tonight. But it looked like a good curveball. And the command on a lot of pitches didn't look terrible. He didn't walk a ton of guys. He didn't hang a lot of pitches. Obviously, the pitch to Ohtani, he hang it. Ohtani banged it. But overall, like, this stuff looked pretty okay. And so, I will be interested to see. You said his next start might be against the Cubs. Is that?
Well, they play the Guardians this weekend,
and then the Cubs,
and then the Cubs. So
so it'll for sure be against the Cubs. I would think that'll be interesting because the Cubs have been hitting really, really well lately. They've been scoring a lot of runs the last month or so, and so that will be kind of the first time in a while he has faced a good hitting team. So I'm interested to see how that goes for him. That will tell us a little bit more than this one did, and so nothing to be overly discouraged about from this one, at least. And what we've seen from Buehler in the past this year, I guess that's an improvement.
Yeah, the one thing, and with an eye for October, with not the division's not locked up, but you have a comfortable enough lead so you can take some chances. I guess the Dodgers' thinking is if Walker Buehler gives us 5 innings, 2-run ball in the postseason and is only at 83 pitches, he's probably not going to pitch more then. So why not? Why keep him going now? And realistically, if Buehler, he's not going to be your 1 or 2. And if he is, that a lot of things have gone weird or different in the next few weeks. So you don't have to push him that way. But I was interested to maybe see what it looked like that 6th inning if he did go back out there. But again, it's not for the game purpose, for Walker Buehler, me watching purpose, I guess.
Yeah, I totally get that. I do agree with you that his most likely role in the postseason is going to be long relief or piggybacking, coming in and, Gavin Stone throws 5 innings and then Buehler comes in and throws 3 innings. So I don't think we're going to need to see Buehler go 6 innings. So it probably was as simple as that. Probably also some, hey, we got you through 5 innings and the score looks good. Let's end it on a high note because and we saw with Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty fell apart in the 6th inning yesterday. If it can happen to Jack Flaherty, it can happen to Walker Buehler, and you don't want to. I've said it before. I would always rather pull a guy 1 pitch too early than 1 pitch too late. And obviously Dave Roberts agrees with me, and that's one of the things that a lot of fans hate about him. But you never know when it's a pitch too late until it's a pitch too late. That's kind of the definition of the whole thing. And so when people talk about Tyler Anderson was pulled too soon in 2022, it's like maybe, or maybe he wasn't. We'll never know. And we'll never know if Walker Buehler was pulled too early. All we know, is what we saw, and yeah, he got out of it relatively unscathed. And so I'm just looking at the Cubs right now in their last, just since August 22nd, my anniversary. What's that? Like 2 weeks? 10 runs, 6 runs, 14 runs, 2 runs, 18 runs, 9 runs, 14 runs, 7 runs, 5 runs, 14 runs, 3 runs. And that's against some bad teams, Marlins, Pirates, Nationals, but they've still been scoring a lot of runs. So it'll be interesting to see, at least for Buehler's next start.
Yeah, and that's a good test. Like, I know the Cubs faced Skeens earlier today, but it's like the 4th time it's a weird quirk where when Skeens came up, he faced the Cubs 2 times, his first 2 starts, and then he's faced them 2 more times since then. So, he still got a few strikeouts, and it wasn't a terrible start, but they definitely made him work. So it's not a matter of the Cubs, even if they did play all bad teams, there's bound to be a couple good pitchers in that mix probably. So
yeah, for sure. Do you think Jose Quijada's sad right now? I hope he's sad right now.
I gotta imagine he's already sad, and now he's just a little more sad.
Yeah, it really is. Mookie said in spring training, every team we play, it's going to be their World Series. I crunched some numbers, Vince. The Dodgers have lost 16 series this year, and those teams that beat them in a series, I looked at how they did in their next series during their World Series hangover. Those teams in their next series have combined for a 429 winning percentage. That's a 69 win pace, which 69 wins would mean 93 losses. So World Series hangovers are real, and the Angels World Series hangover just came a little bit early today because they got it with Quijada and Ben Joyce, and then they immediately they got the hangover in the 10th inning, and I'll take it,
Yeah, hey, whatever it takes.
Yep. You got anything else for today, Vince?
No, another one in Anaheim, day off, come back home. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I guess we didn't dig into whether or not Ben Joyce should have pitched the 10th inning. I think you can make a pretty strong case. I bet our buddies over at Locked On Angels are making that case tonight because Joyce didn't work very hard in the 9th inning, and he's thrown multiple innings several times this year. And in the extra innings, we've talked a lot about how the main thing you want is strikeouts, and that's the main thing Ben Joyce brings. I'm not sure why he didn't come back out. Maybe the reporters asked Washington. I don't know. We're a Dodgers podcast. I don't care. I was glad they didn't because
I guess the one thing, Yoshinobu Yamamoto did make his rehab start. It was supposed to be 3 innings. He went a little long in both innings, but ended up throwing 53 pitches over those 2 innings. So he threw the other inning in the bullpen. He had a 17 pitch at bat, 10 foul balls, I think, and then whatever.
Yeah, that 117 pitch at bat will definitely cut an inning off of your rehab stint for sure.
Yeah, the fastball velocity was there, so we'll see how he feels tomorrow. That's really what we really care about.
Yep, absolutely. All right, that'll do it for us for today. Thank you all for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. Thanks for being here live with us. If you are, we appreciate all of you in the chat. Thanks for talking Dodgers with us. Be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles over on YouTube, 2 24/7 streaming channels. Be sure to subscribe to Locked On Dodgers wherever you're watching or listening right now. If you're not an everydayer, just add 1 or 2 days a week to your schedule until eventually you are an everydayer, and then you can be one of the cool kids like all those everydayers are. You want to become a Locked On Dodgers insider, go to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. Just a few bucks a month with a free 14-day trial. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Locked On Dodgers. Vince is on Twitter at VinceSince91. I'm on Twitter at Snydog, and both of our DMs are open over there. You can also email us anytime at lockedondodgers@gmail.com or send us a voicemail or a text message to 323-863-LOCK-5625. We are here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us. When you get in your car or sit on your couch, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Have a good one.